Okay, so we're back on 7 Days to Die. And let me see, YouTube's been giving me fits about trying to go live. Let me see if I can make sure that I'm actually live. So I went live and YouTube, for whatever reason, didn't recognize that my OBS had started streaming. I had to reboot and restart YouTube because it did not want to go live. Yeah, it looks like it's working. Okay, so we're there. This probably isn't going to be that much gameplay because in the process of doing this, where I was comparing Alpha 20.7, which is the last decent beta that they had before they really screwed the game up, and this one, I've realized how much stuff is broken and doesn't work right in the 7 Days to Die 2.4. So since they did the storm update and literally just trashed the game and made it something completely different, well, they did that starting with Alpha 21. They added all the magazines and stuff like that. This game has just gotten to the point to where it's a hard, long, tedious grind. I mean, if you look, yeah, I was able to get workbenches and stuff put in. It's day 8 now, and I've been able to get some of this stuff put in. But it's like, I should have had all of this stuff by day 3 in the way the game was previously. And so it's literally just that broken. There's just a lot of stuff that literally just doesn't function properly in the game right now. A lot of the timers are off. So for example, if I were to take this water and cook 15 jars of water in the campfire, it'll tell me, you know, it takes this long to cook this much water. And yet when you go to do it, see if we go, we'll say 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So there's 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We'll turn it on. Yeah, that was one that just went. I should have erased that. So it was about a second off there. And so, oh, come on, let's kill this. I screwed up. We're going to let it run out completely. Then I'm going to start the water. I got to get that one out of the way before I can do what I wanted to show. But it's like literally the timers are off. Everything's just wrong. I mean, literally everything's wrong. There's just nothing that is working correctly on this game at this point. It is just so bad. Okay, so there it quit turning. So here's what we're going to do. So we've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. We'll pull all the water out so we can make sure what was there. We're going to go in, we're going to cook 15 water. You're supposed to take 230 to do it. I guarantee you the last jar is not going to cook. We'll be shocked if it actually makes it, because the timer between the fuel timer and the food cook timer are not synced. Don't know why not, but it's been that way in the game for a very long time. And in fact, if you look at the timers, if you just glance at them, you'll see that they'll get a second or two out of sync in doing the cooking. And already it does that. The other problem is there's certain things that go For example, if you get injured, you get a sprain, you get a concussion, you get a broken leg, you get fatigue, those go on real world time. So like you can get hit by a zombie and you can get a fatigue injury that will last for 2 hours real time. That is, if you're doing 60-minute days, that's 2 full days of in-game time that your abilities are literally hampered unless you have the medicine to, so unless you have a vitamin to get rid of the fatigue or a concussion, you have to have the painkillers. If you don't have those, you're just out of luck. You're going to have reduced abilities. It's going to interfere with your ability to play the game for 2 full in-game days. And now with me doing 90-minute days, it's still a day and a third, which is pretty ridiculous. This is another thing that I think just broke the game. The dew collectors here are just probably one of the dumbest ideas they ever came up with. When they originally took away the water jars and put in the dew collectors, you had to pay $2,250 for a part to build a dew collector. To get the money to do that, you would have to do 7 or 8 clear zombie quests. And when you're on day 1 with a level 1 bow and a few stone arrows, and you're on a level 1 spear, you can't do that in one day. You don't have the water to build your stamina up enough to do the quests, to buy the part to do the dew collector. And I'm sure the fun pimps were like, well, you could go scavenge polymers, or you could go mine rocks and then sell those to a trader and then buy the part. No, you can't, because if you don't have stamina from having food and water, you can't mine 12,000 rocks that it would take to get the money to sell to when you sell it to the trader to buy the part. So then they were like, well, we'll make it cheaper to do it, but we'll make them really slow. And then at one point you needed like 6 or 8 dew collectors to keep one player in water because they were so slow. And you have an open top tarp, but when it rains, it doesn't collect water. It only works over time at a steady rate, no matter what. It rains, this doesn't fill up. So, there were games like Stranded Deep where when it rained, your water collectors collected a whole lot of water when it rained. They collected it fast. So there's other games that have that mechanics, but the fun pimps can't figure out how to do it. Now, here we go. The water's quit. So look, we have 14 waters and 1 left over because the timer that was 230 here and 230 here aren't synced. And all you got to do is turn it on for another second. Somehow they're a second on. And the fun pimps have never been able to fix that in the game, or they don't want to. One of the two. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It's just a bug in the game that's just broken. It's like cooking this, the multiples of times of the time of cooking the food don't match the multiples of what you put in food, in fuel to cook it. So that's kind of just annoying that they don't match, but it's like, okay. The other problem you have is if you look at, because I turned on creative mode for this since I'm really not going to be playing the game. So here, look, we'll pull this up. Okay, so here's Fallout Flush. Okay, so we have some Fallout Flush. What does it tell us about Fallout Flush? Duration 5 minutes. Okay. If you take the Fallout Flush and use it, Give me a second. I want to pull up a stopwatch. Okay. So, all right. So if we use Fallout Flush, it says 7 minutes on the screen. This says 5. This down here in the corner says 7. But it's neither, because the timer is not based on game time. I'm on 90-minute days, which means every hour is 3 minutes and 45 seconds. And it's not real world time, because if you watch what happens when we play this game, so let's see, we'll head over here. We'll see if we can get to the. I don't have a motorcycle or anything. Let's grab one. I could teleport over there, but let's see. Motorcycle. There we go. And we need fuel. Okay. So we will drop our motorcycle. We will fuel up our motorcycle. So we're going to head over to the wastelands just to demonstrate what's going on with the Fallout Flush. And this happens with the Black Lung Serum, the Sunstroke Tonic, the Scorcher Stew. It doesn't matter which one it is, it's all broken. Oh, and this is the other thing is, you can't sprint on the motorcycle. You're stuck at 1 speed. This is something that they broke with the little update a month ago, back in October. They were like, oh, when you get on or off a vehicle, the sprint mode stays on. Well, what they did is they literally turned it off to where it never works when you're on a vehicle. And so where it used to be you could get on a motorcycle, and if you wanted to use more gas, you hit sprint mode and you went 50% faster. So if a distance took you a minute to go on the motorcycle at normal speed, you could get there in 40 seconds if you hit sprint mode. So literally, if you were covering a distance in sprint at 40, you go out of sprint mode to save fuel, it takes you 50% longer to get there. Same went for the mini bikes, same went for the 4x4. They all had a sprint mode that you could do that. The bicycle had it. You could do it on the bicycle too. You can't do that anymore. It's all stuck at 1 speed, and you literally can't use it. And the problem is, when you go up these hills, I'll kind of demonstrate. Watch. See, I can't get over it. Before you would hit sprint mode, it would go over the lip. And now it's like, nope, it doesn't want to go. And you're just lucky if it goes. See, like here, it's like, see, before you would hit sprint mode, this would go. And it's like, now it's like, you can't hardly get it to go. It's like it's stuck. There's no sprint mode to get you over the top. And so you literally wind up stuck. So if you've made the mistake of putting supplies in the motorcycle, see, like here, let's see if it'll go. See, it's barely catching, but it's like this makes it really hard to go over slopes and steep terrain. Before you could do it. It was relatively easy for most stuff, but now it's like you literally hit points where you just can't do it. So let's see if this will do it. It's like they put this little kick into it, which is a new thing, but it's like, how am I supposed to get anywhere? If I and it's not just going up a mountain. Some of these roads are steep enough. You will hit roads in the mountains that are steep enough. You need the sprint mode to go up the road. And they've taken that ability out. So not only does it take 50% longer to get everywhere on the map, which is just more of a grind, it also keeps you from literally going places with the motorcycle. And the whole idea of the motorcycle is all this extra storage you can take with you. And now if you put anything in storage and you get your motorcycle stuck because you fall in a hole or a ravine and it's too steep to drive out without sprint mode, you're just SOL. There's nothing you can do. You literally have to take all your stuff out of the motorcycle, build a storage crate, climb out of wherever it was you were at, put all the stuff in a storage crate, empty your motorcycle out so you can pick it up. Then you have to get your motorcycle out, take it over to the storage crate, and then you reload all the stuff in the motorcycle so you can leave again. That is not fun. The fun pimps seem to think that makes the game fun. And I'm not sure how they think that's a good thing. Let's see, somewhere around here we should be hitting wastelands. But this takes a long time to get here now because it literally takes, for every 2 minutes of ground we covered before, it now takes 3 minutes to cover the same amount of ground. And that makes it, again, not fun. I'm not sure why they did that. But if you look, the Fallout Flush is already gone. It disappeared while I was talking. We'll do another one, but when we get over here, I'll show you the really bad part of the Fallout Flush. Let's get over here. We're almost there. I mean, it only took us forever to get here, even on a motorcycle, because you can't go fast on a motorcycle. There's no throttle speed. You go one speed and that's it. So let's get over here. Might need to give ourselves some. Let's give ourselves some good weapons while we're here. Yeah, hello. You quit. Let me grab a better weapon. Let's see. Modify it. Here we go. We'll just get rid of all the people that are bugging us. What I'm doing is I'm intentionally letting my health go low because, again, you can see where it says that the Fallout Flush In one place, the game says it gives you 5 minutes. We got plenty of ammo still. I don't want to step on a landmine and kill myself. So, all right. So we're letting the timer run down because it tells you Fallout Flush. Duration 5 minutes. Reduces biome effects and provides faster movement while in the wasteland. So let's say I want to extend my time in this wasteland as long as I can. So I use up the 3 minutes that I get with a little bit of reduced speed and the coughing effects and stuff, so that I can get as far into here as I can. And then I decide I'm going to use my Fallout Flush. I'm going to get my 5 or 7 minutes. And let's get in here. So we're down to where we're pretty much out of health. Let's see. We're in burnt forest. Shit, I don't want to be here. I want to be in, well, I can do burnt forest too. Let's do black lung serum. It works the same way. So let's see, black lung serum. Okay. Let's use. Okay, so notice it says that it gave me 5 minutes. If you notice, instead of 7 like the Fallout Flush did before, it says 5 minutes. Watch the clock. Watch how quickly. I mean, look at your watch, look at your computer timer, look at your phone timer, and see if it gives me 5 minutes of actual. Because when this first happened, I was like, oh, I must have just not been paying attention. I was out here longer than I thought I was. But it didn't. So notice the timer has gone down to 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Notice I have no effects right now at 3 minutes and 3 seconds. There we go. It just switched. Now, all of a sudden, I've got the blurry thing. I'm going to start coughing. I have the reduced effects. So I didn't get 5 minutes of protection and buffed abilities. I got 1 minute. It went down from 5 to 3, and at 3, it cut off the protection. So it went down 2 minutes, but in real life, that was 1 minute. And now it says, oh, you've got, 2 minutes and something of damaged health that you're slowly losing abilities. So let's go in here and we'll use another one. This is what makes it fun. We'll use it. Get my stopwatch. Notice it said 7 minutes and then dropped to 6 immediately. So it now tells me I have 6 minutes of thing, not 5 that it says on the black lung serum. It said 7, went to 6 immediately. But watch how quickly I actually lose the buff. The buff doesn't last for the 6 minutes that it shows. It doesn't last for the 5 minutes that they claim in the description. So Fun Pimps can't even keep the description. See, we're already down to 5 minutes already. So we've lost 2 minutes of time. So even though this says duration 5 minutes, we've only been here for a minute. and it's already down to 4 minutes and 58 seconds. So we went from 7 to under 5 minutes in 1 minute. And see, we're already down. So at 1.5 minutes, we're below 4 minutes. So we've gone down 3 minutes on the timer of what was on the screen, and we're down to 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and we haven't even been 2 minutes with the buff. So even if that was, if the 5 minutes was correct, we're 2 minutes in. Right now is 2 minutes, and my buff just went away. The buff literally just stopped. So at 2 minutes in, on what was supposed to be a 5 or 7 minute buff, I have now lost my buff. So, needless to say, this is not very good. This is just ridiculous that their timers are off by that far, and they think that this is good for gameplay. Because, well, you know, they promise you 5 minutes of safety and health if you make this special sauce. Well, it used to be in the old game, you could make clothing. You had clothing mods that you could add for temperature to keep you from getting cold, keep you from getting hot. You could combine them together so that you had insulated clothing and cooling mesh in the same clothing, so you could go from desert to snow to whatever, and it was fine. Now you can't do that. The weather effects don't matter. Used to be coffee gave you warmth. There were other ones that gave you cooling stuff. There were, there was just all kinds of stuff that you could do with food and beverages and things like that. And it was fine. But now, just to show that this serum is the same as the other one, let's hit this one. We'll go want to use it. Can I use it? Oh, it won't let me while I'm on a motorcycle. That's the other thing, is you can't sit on a motorcycle and drink or eat something, which is just stupid. Especially from somebody who, when I was younger, spent a whole lot of time riding motorcycles. I spent 4 years in college, 4.5 years in college, with nothing but a motorcycle as my only transportation. Traveled all over the place on it, and used to drink or eat stuff all the time while I was running on it. But notice it says 7 minutes when I use the black lung serum. It says 7 minutes, just like the Fallout Flush did. It's going to last for between 2 and 2.5 minutes, and then it's going to run out. It's not going to be for 7 minutes. And let's see if we can find the wastelands. Where's our wasteland? Do we have it? It's way up north, so we want to go way north. But yeah, and it takes forever to get anywhere across the map. The other thing I was doing was, when I was looking at some of this timing stuff and trying to figure out what's really wrong with the game, trying to figure out if I wanted to keep playing it, I pulled up an alternate profile, turned on creative mode like I did on this one, gave myself a motorcycle with upgrades on it, gave myself guns and stuff so I could just do stuff and run timers and stuff. While I was doing some stuff at my base, they dropped an airdrop right when I was getting started, the first airdrop, dropped 1.8 kilometers away from my base. So 1,800 meters away from the base is where my airdrop went. And when I went to go get it, just out of curiosity, I was like, I got to go see where that dropped. It was over a kilometer into the snow biome. Where if I was a regular first-time player playing it legit without the creative cheat mode on, there's no way that I would be able to go get that. I would have to have like 30 building blocks, and I would have to run for over a kilometer through the snow fighting mountain lions, bears, dealing with frost claws and lumberjacks in the snow while cold and having reduced speed and capability, doing all that stuff and having it be just whatever. So it's like, here we go. Okay. So I'm waiting for this other timer to run out because it doesn't help me in this biome. And it seems like the black lung serum works better than the fallout flush. This is actually lasting for over 3 minutes. But keep in mind on the screen it said it was a 7-minute buff. So whenever I took it, it said, oh, you've got 7 minutes. Let's see how long it actually lasts. So every one of these seems to react differently, and depending on where you were when you took it and whether or not you went into the biome that it was meant for or not, seems to affect how it works. So right now we're still in the pine forest. Wow, look at the drawing. I love a game that so right now we're at 4 minutes and 20 seconds, not at 7 minutes. And let's see. Because we're not in that biome, it might run all the way down. But the way it's gone down to minutes and seconds, I think it's going to go away. Yeah, see, it just went away at 3 minutes. It disappeared. So we were 5 minutes in to it, and it went away, but we weren't in that biome. So let's do Fallout Flush now that we're here. We will, let's go into the Badlands. We're in the Badlands, Wastelands. We're going to use the Fallout Flush. It says 7 minutes. So notice we have no ill effects. We've got full speed. We can run. We can do whatever. We're not coughing. We don't have the green ring around the view sight. Heads-up display is all clear and good. I'm not sure why we all of a sudden had smoke going on us, but that's interesting. Oh, we went back into the burnt forest. How the hell did we get into the burnt forest? I thought this was wastelands. It is wastelands. Okay. That's why it changed. So that is an area of burnt forest next to the wastelands. Okay. That'll screw with our timer because we went in and out of the biome. Yeah, now we're getting these mushrooms. So notice our buff just went away. We're a little over 2.5 minutes into the Fallout Flush, and our buff went away again. So the buff is lasting half of the 5 minutes or a third of the 7 minutes. It's not exactly working the way it's supposed to. And that's where we're at. It's like oh, there he is. A feral on fire. Okay. We got a dire wolf. So we got us a hellhound hunting us. And this is just kind of demonstrating how ridiculously hard some of the zombies are to kill. Imagine trying to go into this wasteland with protective clothing. This is part of their storm update that they did with, what, 2.3 or whatever it was. And it's like they've just screwed up the... Yeah, so here we go. We got people coming. And that screamer's calling in a whole herd on us. Okay. Yeah, now we got a whole herd of these. And notice we've run out of our serum. Now watch. Use it. So we're supposed to get 5 minutes out of that serum. We've got a cop. So we just used a fallout flush. We're in the right biome. Oh, and there's a bear. We don't want a bear. There's an infected. Well, let's give ourselves some better ammo. Notice our buff just went away after 1 minute. So we no longer have the protection of the fallout flush. We are back into as though we just walked into the biome. So yeah, we're back to being screwed because that 5-minute buff lasted for 1 minute. So between the vehicles not sprinting, the buffs not working, the zombies being at least twice as hard to kill as they were before, animals not spawning so that you can find food the first 3 or 4 days that you're out and about. I found that by restarting the game several times, for the first 3 days, no rabbits, no chickens, no deer, nothing spawns within about 400 or 500 meters of the original base where they have you start. If you go to the snow biome, you can find mountain lions and bears to try and kill with your level 1 bow and level 1 spear, which will probably kill you. Or if you go out at night and fight with feral zombies and go more than 500 meters from your base, you might find a rabbit or a chicken or a deer. But they're very few and far between until you get past the night of day 3, at which point they let you get it. So again, the Fun Pimps intentionally made food scarce. I've also had problems with not getting Forge Ahead magazines, not getting scrapping for fun magazines, stuff like that. And it makes it really difficult because where previously you could find wrenches in toolboxes and things like that, nowadays you won't find one until like day 5 or 6 most of the time. And the problem is you can't make a workbench without mechanical parts. You can't get mechanical parts without a wrench. And to make a wrench, you also have to find scrapping for fun magazines. So they've kind of got this nested catch-22 where you have to find 10 Forge Ahead magazines, but they made them harder to find. So you have to go visit 2 or 3 traders and find construction sites like this one we just went through, and hope you can find Forge Ahead magazines in a cement mixer. Used to be it was almost always in a workbench or a chemistry station. Now it's mostly in the forges and the cement mixers. So now you have to find these instead of the workbenches. So yeah, see, there's a Forge Ahead. Okay. But used to be you would find concrete in them, which was really helpful for building. So they changed that up because people would go to houses into the garages with workbenches and they would find Forge Ahead magazines, and it was pretty easy to do because they also had much larger cities that you could go camp out around and loot. They've taken the bigger cities out. The 10K map is gone. The 8K map, the big cities are gone. Let's see, we want to go home. but they've just made it a whole lot more difficult to do things because they decided you shouldn't be able to do it. You know, the removal of water jars, where you could find a jar of water. The other thing you used to find is, it used to be fairly common when you were running around the map. You would find coffee, you would find red tea, you would find golden tea that was all usable, edible drink. You would find it on the map. That's almost never found nowadays. It's always just murky water that has to be boiled. Also, back then, if you drank the water or drank the red tea or the coffee, you got an empty jar that you could keep and refill and reuse. You could actually make jars in the forge, and they were reusable. Nowadays, that you can't do that. They don't let you, because when you drink a jar of water, you eat the glass jar with it. So you swallow the water and the jar, evidently, because there's nothing left over. And so it just makes it really difficult. They decided to make the game a grind rather than fun. They have confused the concept of making something fun and challenging, where you can use strategy and logic to overcome the challenge. You could find things in the game to help you do it, where now it's over 1,800 magazines that appear at random, and you have no control over them. They claim if you put points in certain things, it'll increase your chances, but my career was being a computer programmer and beta tester, and I actually tried not putting points in categories and then putting points in only certain categories and seeing what happened. Their random generation is so broken, it's pathetic. You could literally put points in cooking and advanced engineering, but then find more magazines in shotguns and bar brawling and stuff like that you didn't put anything in. So it's like the game's just broken. At this point, since there's no sprint on the vehicles, there's the buffs for the different things. Where poopy pants, don't want to go to poopy pants. But with the buffs being broken, they've taken away so much of the construction stuff that you used to have. There used to be a texture for building that was a really pretty shiny black granite that I used to like to make my bases out of. They took it away. There was a light colored marble or granite that I could use for making floors or ceilings. They took it away. There was, if you got up here and you were on the big areas like here where you aren't worried about zombies attacking, there was a 3x3 block that you could build for the price of a regular size block. And yeah, if you made it concrete, it was only 5,000 over, and those 9 blocks were a total of 5,000. That area was a single block worth 5,000, so it covered 3 times, actually 9 times more area. But it made it really quick and easy to build bases, so they took it out because you don't want to make things easy. Let's see if we can find. I have a paintbrush, but I can get one. But let me grab a paintbrush. I can figure out where they put it. So let's go. Paint. There's a paintbrush. Okay, now I have a paintbrush. have paint. Let's this here. And when you look, black TV screen, pillowcase, black granite. Let's see if it's the same one. It's more gray. It used to be really dark black, and it used to be shiny. Now it's just kind of a gray. So again, they changed it. They made it better. Made it look. I mean, tell me, is that black? Is that black? I don't get it. Because again, if I go black granite, that's white. That's not black. That's gray. But okay. Let's see if we go concrete white, concrete broken, plaster. So we can go, God damn it. That's the other thing, is this stupid I'm trying to find stuff. I want to go here, and it just, for whatever reason, tabbed out of there. So they used to have, it was marble. Gray marble is what you can get. Now, that's, gray marble is darker than black granite. Go figure. The white marble is gone. Let's see if we can find it. And you know, this is stuff that just, it made it fun for building. You could do stuff. This is the closest thing you can come. Is this cabinet granite is the closest thing you can come to a light colored. You can kind of got a vomit color to it. That's as close as you can come to a light colored stone that you can make stuff out of. And so, I mean, they just did some weird stuff like that where they just took things out for no reason. I'm not sure why they would remove the whiter marbles and stuff like that from the game. But when you look, if you go, you got adobe, concrete, metal, burnt wood. That's it. Marble is the other one. It used to be a marble or a countertop. Now the only countertop is this one. That one. The marble one that I used to use, it was a white marble countertop that was much lighter than this, kind of looked like that, but lighter. It was much better looking than this. And it just doesn't make sense that they took it out. They gave us less options on colors in building than they did previously. And so it's just stupid, because with all the things they've broken, I mean, Um, the my sister sending me something about Starlink because she's on Starlink. I'm still on Spectrum, and as soon as Starlink lowers their price about $20, I'm going with Starlink too. But you know, they've just broken so many things on the game. The fact that it's hard to build, like right now. You look. I've got 4 points in shotguns. I've got 5 points in explosives. But when you look at where I've spent my stuff, I've not put anything in shotguns. I've not put anything in demolitions. Yet, I have points that are there. Now, I did put some points in machine gunner, I think. Let's see. Yeah, I put 1 point in machine gunner. I barely have more of that than I do in than I got shotguns. Let's see, what else do we have that's there? So like traps, I don't care. Vehicles. I've got 13 magazines in vehicles. I put 1 point in Grease Monkey. I have 13 I got 12 magazines because you start with one. That's the other thing is you start with 1. Blades, that means I haven't found anything. But if you look at the books, you start with 0. Why do you start with 0 of 7 books? But when you're looking at magazines, you start with 1 of 75, or you start with 1 of 20, or 1 of 50, or 1 of 100. Why do you start with 1, not 0? That just means with all these categories, you have to find less, but it's still over 1,800 magazines. Yeah. Who's making noise out here? There you are. There, you're dead. You're making noise and bugging me while I'm complaining about the game. But, oh, the other thing they did too was the trees here, these trees right here, used to be in planter boxes that were 5x5 farm plots. Each one of these trees was 25 planter farm plot blocks. And each one of these 6 trees that was on this property. So what the devs do, they realized that people were coming to here and building bases here because it gave them the immediate ability to plant food and survive more easily. So what they do, they took out the planter boxes and just put dirt mounds that you can't plant on. So you now have to make these, which are really resource intensive in the early parts of the game. Because why? They just wanted to make it harder. You know, it's like cooking magazines. Whenever I came in here, there were no cooking magazines in the kitchen. There were no pots in the kitchen. Places you would expect to find things, they aren't going to be there. And it used to be you would go into a kitchen, you would find food, you would find cooking pots, you would find cooking magazines. You would find stuff like that. And they got to where, oh, people are figuring out where to look for stuff. Let's get rid of it. It was like the water jars. Oh, people are using it. They figured out how to use water jars and to make their life easier. Let's get rid of them. That's basically what it seems like the fun pimps do, is they'll look at the gameplay that people are streaming, and whatever the people have figured out to make the game more fun and easier to do, they'll literally nerf it. They'll get rid of it. I'm not sure why. So like right there, I just fell off and hurt my leg. This timer is for an hour and 40 minutes. It's really for more than a whole day of in-game time. That's what it's truly for. So, Fallout Flush buff, if you're in the biome and you're, see how slow I'm moving now? I can barely move. Imagine if you didn't have a splint or a cast or things that you could take. Get rid of it. I mean, it's just stupid. And so you come in here and you go, okay, let's fix this. And put a cast on. But I'm still penalized for 24 minutes. That's still a third of a day. At 90 minutes, that's almost a third of a day. And for a 60-minute day, that's still more than a third of a day that you're hurt and you can't move as fast. So then you have to use steroids too. Now it'll ignore that, but to do it for that amount of time, I got to have 2 of these. And so now I can go and move, and I've got normal speed and movement, and I'm fine. But why make this buff say 5 minutes, but when I take it, it says 7, and then it only lasts for 1 or 2 minutes. But this one will literally last for 23 minutes in real time. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, they can't figure out if they're using game time, real time, or some other made-up time. And most of the time it's some other made-up time. They just, the devs don't have a clue what they're doing. They don't understand what the community's looking for. I've literally put over 4,800 hours in this game. Started on a different computer in Alpha 18 or 19, maybe even 17. It got into early Alpha 20. To me, that was the best because they had added some features and things that made it easier and hadn't put the magazines in yet. Although back then the eggs and bird nests got really scarce. But you would literally build your base by a water supply. So you could just go out and get water. You didn't have to do anything. Or if you didn't want to build near water supply, you could literally, like where I am here, where there's not any water on the map, real close to me, right here. I mean, it's over here. So I can go over here. You could take a bucket, pick up water from here, and build a pond by your base. See, I could do this, watch. And buckets were available real early in the game too. So like one of the basic tools you could get. So you could get a bucket. Oh, it's already got water in it. So see, it's already got water in it. See, I can pour the water on the ground. I can pick it up. Okay, so I can take this water. And if I really wanted to have water near my base because I wanted to be able to refill my jars, I could come over here. Like I have this hole here where I accidentally dug something out. Now I have a pond. Now, if I take this shovel, let's see, a shovel. Let me grab a shovel. We don't care what level of shovel it is. Shovel. Okay. So now, if we take our water, you could play with this and it would eventually fill up. Or you can just go back to the water and go get more. So you could make runs back and forth. You could get 2 or 3 buckets and do this. And so it made the game where you literally built a base. You didn't just, you know, you could overcome. I mean, you could literally grab 10 buckets of water and go into the desert and build a base and have a pond. If you were willing to put out the effort, you could do it. You could literally put buckets in your motorcycle and cart them over to the desert and put it wherever you wanted it. But you can literally let's see if we can get it done. For whatever reason, it's not working the way it used to. And see, that's the other thing. It used to be you would do this, and when you put the water down there, see how it filled in and then went away? It used to stick. And now they've made it so it doesn't stick. Of course, part of it might be that I made it too deep. But, you know, literally you could come in here and you could make water. You could just go. So let's come over here. We'll come over here and we'll put some water. But you can see it's like, see, sometimes it picks it all up. Other times it only picks up a part of it. See, there we go. It's beginning to act like it used to. Where if you did it right, it would. But you can get the idea of, I can come in here and I can say, okay, I want this water here. You could have a pond with water that you could store. And yeah, see, it didn't like going deeper. Didn't try to go deeper. I tried to go sideways. But... See, this is the kind of mechanic that was in the game that they broke. It's like, let's see if we fill that hole in. Does it fix it? Because I mean, this is just the kind of stuff I used to do, just for fun and looking. And it was like, you could literally build what you wanted on the game, and it let you. Let's get rid of this. Let's go. Topsoil. Okay. So now, if we fill that in, and it would make it so that the other thing they did is because water is fluid, once you filled a pond with water, it became like this was. So this is the other thing I don't understand that they took away in the game. See, if you here, notice when I pick up water, it makes a hole in the water, which it shouldn't do. It used to not do that. See, it would do like that. It would fill back in. And so you go in here, you could fill your pond with water. You could even use like construction blocks and make a tank. And once you filled it with water like this, when you picked it up, it didn't disappear. It would flow from the other areas. It would just refill. And so you could make yourself an endless water supply by doing that. And they broke that mechanic. That's why I haven't. Yeah, and with the dew collectors, you no longer need a pond. One of the things that you used to do early in the game was you picked where you built your base based on whether or not it had water nearby that you could get. You probably didn't want to locate in the burnt forest or in the desert where you couldn't get water because, you know, snow you could turn into water, but you couldn't take sand or burnt ash and stuff and turn it into water. So it did affect you some. Now let's see if we... Yeah, so it's not working the way it used to, where you could literally come in here and you could pick up the water, and then the water would be... It would be like, okay, you've got water. See, in here, if you go deep, it disappears. So it's like, doesn't make sense. See, like there, it fills back in. Wonder what happens when I put a cube in it. Now it filled in with a cube. But that's funny. See, you can see how inconsistent the game is in the way it works. The game is literally broken. It's like, why didn't that fill back in? I took a bucket of water out, put a bucket back in it, it's still broken. But yeah, that's basically the game. Is just well, other things they took out of the game that just are irritating. Here you got your clothing. Got a cosmetic modifier slot. It's gone. You can't. There isn't one. Let's see if I go up here. Let's see if I've got, yeah, there's some dye. Got dye. Oh, I just dropped it. The game's really good about that too. I click here, put it in my inventory. So what does it do? It drops it. Because of course I wanted to drop it. So let's go in here. So I want to modify. I can't color the clothing. Used to be you could turn your clothing blue, pink, green, purple, whatever. You could do that. It let you do it. Let's see if it lets us do it on guns, because they used to let you do it on guns. So now is my gun yellow? Not that you can tell. Let's take the color off. See if it changes. It's not what I wanted to drop. Click on this. Yeah, so the gun doesn't change at all. It used to be if you put yellow on the gun turned kind of golden. You put red or other colors on it, the gun changed colors. Now it seems like the only thing that changes color when you put color on it is your vehicle. So like if I take this, so right now, modify, it's orange. Let's make it yellow. Now it's yellow. That's literally the only thing dyes do now. Dyes used to change your clothes. They used to change your weapons. They used to do other stuff. You could literally, you could take your spear and you could say, I want an orange spear, and you would modify it. Let's see, maybe this one will. And that's the problem, is it used to do it on a lot of stuff. So now my spear looks more orange. Okay. But it used to do that on guns and everything. They take it off of guns, but they leave it on the hand tools. Why? You know, why can't I take this one? See, now, okay, get this. I can change, so let me grab. Let's see, what do we want? There we go. Let's grab some red, some green, some blue, and some purple. Okay. So now you can see I've got blue paint on my shovel. Okay. But it did change the wrap to a little bit red on the but it's not, the change is not what it used to be. It used to be the whole tone of the gun changed. See, let's Yeah, so if you look, the clothing wrap on the gun changes. That's it. Not exactly a game-breaking thing to not let the gun be a better looking item, but I mean, literally changing the cloth wrapped around the grips is the only thing. This remains red. The rest of the gun doesn't change color. It's like, why? I mean, the game just used to be a lot more fun when they gave you more options. You know, again, you go in here and you go, oh, I want to change the clothing on my character. You can't. They have a cosmetic section, but the modifier slot's gone. So that tells you it used to be there, but you can't put it in anymore. It doesn't let you. So they wanted to make the characters so that they could have more clothing options that you could buy from Fun Pimps. So yeah, it's like this. Oh, you can do. So you can come in here and I can go, oh, twice that. Got that for free. So now, but how do I see it? I mean, think about it. The only way you can see it is you jump on a vehicle. So used to be, if you put purple dye on your pants, you didn't have an outfit. You had pants, shirt, everything was separate. They had individual slots. You could have purple pants and a red shirt, and you could have blue or green gloves. You could make whatever colors you wanted because it would let you. Now, only if you get one of the DLC outfits are you allowed to have color on your clothes, because they want you to pay $9 an outfit, $9 or $10 for the outfit that during most of the game you can't even see. Yeah, again, it's like the storms. They did the big storm update. They're like, oh, this will be great. You'll have these storms, and if you go out into the storms, it'll kill you. So you have to go inside and hide from the storm. And it's like, yeah, so you have a storm that goes for a third of my day, goes for 30 minutes straight, and I'm supposed to do what inside for 30 minutes when I'm supposed to be outside gathering stuff and doing things? They didn't think that one through very well. And even now, it's like, right now, it's mostly bright and sunny. So if you go up here and look, the game looks pretty good, but it's still kind of a gray, foggy haze, where it used to be in Alpha 20, you had pretty nice, colorful views all the way to the horizon whenever it was bright and sunny. The colors and contrasts were better. They've increased the textures and the particles, which does a hit on the frame rate of your game. In my opinion, the game doesn't really look that much better. I liked it better. Alpha 20.7 to me looks better than this. I'm not looking for a picture realistic game, and I don't want it to look like I live in LA or the Smoky Mountains. That's what this looks like. It's like, oh yeah, you know, 2-3 blocks away, you can see the smog. No, that's not pretty. And so that's basically where I am on this game, is they've literally broken so many things. I built this before the 2.4 update. This would have kept cops from spitting and getting into you, and now that doesn't work either, because now only if the scaffolding that's on the inside is on the outside will it keep the cop spit from getting through it if you put the bars behind it. So they've nerfed that. like I say, they keep making changes that are just random dumb stuff that it's like, why? Making it so that it's just harder to play the game rather than more fun. I liked it where I could come into the game with it by day 3, have a base built that was mostly concrete. I could go out and explore the world, do what I want. I could have a bicycle that would let me sprint and go almost twice as fast as the current one does. You know, I could have a chemistry station. Normally by the end of day 7 or 8, I would have a chemistry station. And that chemistry station let you build powder, you know, gunpowder for half the cost of a workbench. I'm still 16 magazines away from that. I mean, that's going to how many traders and other buildings to find workstation, the Forge Ahead books. 16 of them. Every trader you find about 2. Used to be you would find 3 or 4. Now you find 2. If you're lucky. I've gone into some traders, found none or 1. So it's like they're forcing you to run across the world and do stuff that you used to not be forced to do. To be able to progress in the game. They made it so that if you play with friends, your friends will spawn nearby, but all of your airdrops fall hundreds of meters, even kilometers away. So you have to run across the map for supplies, where those airdrops used to fall anywhere from I've had airdrops in the past that would have fallen right here. Literally, they fall almost on top of you. And then they might also fall. A really bad airdrop was one that fell, 700, 800, 900 meters away, was a really bad one. And like I say, the other day I had one that fell 1.8 kilometers, 1,800 meters away. And it was in the snow biome on day 2, where I had no ability to go into the snow biome without, literally, you run into the snow biome, you dig a hole two blocks deep, squat in the hole and put blocks in on the ground above you and plug it to recover your health. Get up, pick up your building blocks, run as far as you can again, do the same thing, and you hope you don't hit a frostclaw, you don't hit a mountain lion, a bear, a wolf, something that's going to kill you, because if you do, you're dead. Like I say, this has just gotten to the point of the game is just no longer fun. They've taken away so many things that were in the game. It's like this storage crate used to have that many slots. In fact, it may have even had more. I'm pretty sure it had at least as many as the iron crate. And then you had a smaller chest that you could build that had, a few slots in it. This one used to require 10 wood and 10 nails. Now it just requires wood. This one now requires 10 iron, but that's it. Like I say, it's just stupid. It's like, again, I was talking about building a workbench. You have to have 10 magazines to get to this point. So literally it required you to have the 10 magazines to get to this point. Used to be you could find that. You would go to one trader, you would probably find 4 workbench magazines, 3 or 4 in the thing. You could go out, you could hit a couple of houses, workbenches in the garage, go hit a couple of construction sites. You could find enough in one little town to build your workbench on day 1 or 2. Now you literally have to travel to 2 or 3 other traders, or travel into 2 or 3 other towns to find the workbenches, the magazines. And then the other problem you have is, like here, salvage tools. I only have 5. I'm only 1 over the minimum to build a wrench. I'm on day 8. I was on day 8 when we started this, and I'd just barely been able to get enough to build a wrench. Yeah, that's not right, because you should be able to, since you need mechanical parts to build your workbenches, to build your stuff, you shouldn't need 4 mechanical parts to build a wrench that you can't harvest without a wrench. And that's where the game is right now. Used to be you could find mechanical parts. You could go into a garage or somewhere, find a toolbox. There might be mechanical parts in it. You would find, loot here and there that, different places that would have mechanical parts. That you could go into the O'Reilly Auto Parts, maybe find a wrench and find mechanical parts. Now you don't do they. It's just not there. Also, you could go to a trader. The trader would probably have mechanical parts. The trader would have things you needed. So you could go mine rocks, you could go gather polymers, you could go gather other resources, sell them to the trader, buy the stuff you needed on day 1 or 2. What I run into now is you go into the trader on day 1, he doesn't have a wrench, he doesn't have a gatherer, he doesn't have a tarp for water production, doesn't have any of that on day 1. And it'll say restock day 4. In fact, this one game I just played, he did have a wrench. The wrench was $2,350 for like a level 3 or 4 wrench. I was like, good, I can at least go mine, 12,000 rocks. I can come back to the trader and sell it and get a wrench early in the game. So I did that. I went back to the trader on day 2 and the wrench was gone. So he had restocked. He still didn't have a tarp, still didn't have a gatherer, anything else I needed for water. But the wrench was also gone and never came back. And it wasn't on that gameplay, it wasn't until late on day 5 that I got an airdrop that had a wrench in it. So I was literally unable to make ammo, unable to make all the stuff that you need a workbench to make. I couldn't do any of it till almost day 6 on that playthrough of the game. And there should never be a point at which you can't get the basic tools you need to play the game, because the devs just simply didn't let it spawn. And they set it up where you need 4 mechanical parts to build a wrench so you can gather mechanical parts, and then they don't spawn mechanical parts anywhere in the game or at any of the traders in their supplies. I mean, I literally on that game, I went to 5 different traders. There was no gatherer, no tarp, no mechanical parts. The one had a wrench that disappeared on day 2. It was gone. None of them. I went to a trader Jen. I went to a trader Hugh. I went to trader Rhett. I even went to trader Joel in the snow biome. None of them had any of the stuff I needed to start the game and build. 0. And that's the problem. They've literally decided they're going to make the game to where you're probably going, if you don't know what you're doing, you're probably going to die. It's like here, if you don't have food nearby, if you don't have there's no food in any of these buildings to speak of. The only one you can get food in is if you go to the Red Rooster down here, that one right there, and you fight and kill zombies. You can retrieve the supplies. Okay. But if you go down here in the basement, there are at least 4 roosters in this basement. But that's providing you've been able to find the stuff to build a forge or find a cooking pot, because the chances there's going to be a cooking pot in here is 0. It's like, see, there's chickens. But who would think that in a bar called the Red Rooster, there would be actual chickens? chickens to eat. I mean, think about it. In what world does that make sense? It's a bar. I mean, it's a freaking bar. But evidently in this bar, they hold cockfights. Because that's the other thing. Did you see these guys pop in? But do you see how many zombies I had to kill to get in here? So you come in here on day 1 or 2 when you have a level 1 bow and a level 1 spear, you better be ready to fight some zombies. Probably not something the average player's going to do. And see, it's like, okay. You know, we're basically, yeah, now I've got chickens, so there's 4. I mean, you think about it, it's like, this is just kind of stupid. But it's like, I don't understand what they're doing with the game. They're just trying to make it hard for the sake of making it hard without making it something where you can logically, I mean, you would think, oh, I go to a farm, I'll find chickens. No. You don't find chickens at a farm. You find them in a bar. I mean, that's the part that I don't understand. See, it's like, okay, so if I want to find food, don't go to a cafe, don't go to a diner, don't go into the kitchen of a house. Go into the basement of a bar where they hold cockfights, and you'll find chickens. See, and like there. Just hitting them because the sights are not very good. But it's like, okay, so now I found chickens, but look, that got me 42. So that'll get me through a couple days of if I have eggs and can make bacon and eggs. But if you're making grilled meat early in the game when it takes 4 or 5 pieces of meat to make that, that's not even a day's worth of meat. But you have that, you have Bob's Boars somewhere over there. Is another one. But if you go into the basement of Bob's Boars looking for food and meat, yeah, you'll find supercorn there. Yeah, you'll find pigs. They'll probably kill you. If you're on day 1 or 2, you're probably dead. If you walk in there not knowing they're there and you're just exploring, they kill you. And so it's just the game has gotten just so ridiculous. You know, zombies that used to be you would headshot a zombie and their head would explode and they would die. Now it's like you might have to shoot them 4 or 6 times in the head to kill them, depending on the zombie. Very few of them die in one shot anymore, no matter what, until you get into the very top end sniper rifle, which has like 170 damage. It's very rare that a zombie doesn't require multiple shots to kill it. And so it makes it really annoying because every time players figure out how to play the game and make it fun, the fun pimps come along and nerf everything, take it away, they do something to literally break the game. And see, it's like here. See, I just filled that in. Why is the ground not level? There is a way to level it, but you level it by just putting blocks on it. So now the ground's level. Why did it hump up whenever I put it in? Shouldn't it have just been level to start with? See, and it's the same thing here. And now that hump's gone. Don't know why they do that, but it's annoying. Like I say, we've got our water. But yeah, it's at least they haven't done away with the shooting corridor where you can do this and build the shooting corridor. Now that's the closest that a airdrop has dropped in ages. That's 300 meters away from my base. That's the way they used to fall. But it's also day 9. It's not day 1 or 2. So now it's 300 meters from my base. Not so the other one was literally, when you look at it, see, we've got that one's 700 meters away. And where the other one fell, see, I had one that fell right out here. See how far away that is. Yeah. So that's literally about where it was. So in the other game that I started and played when I was just screwing around, because that's what I like to do, is figure out bugs. Literally, it fell way out here. See, it's not even showing on the map. That's the funny part. It's not even showing on the map. And that's the other thing is you saw me just there's a flag. Where's my flag? I mean, I'm literally looking for that particular one. You know, it's like I put a quick waypoint out there, it's not there. So again, that's just another example of how the game is broken. There's literally a marker on the map. Let's see if I go over here. Let's put one. Oh, it's not putting one. Wow. Yeah, so see, the map's broken. It should show me that flag on the map whenever I look at the map. But the map says, nope, we're not going to show that. You know, again, just stuff like that that's just stupid that the game does, because the fun pimps can't be bothered to fix the game because they're too worried about putting the, I mean, like this animation. It's like, great. I want to use something to help me when I'm in a game and I'm fighting, and let's say I need to take a painkiller. So I'm in a battle and I get a concussion and I don't want it bothering me while I'm playing the game. So I come in here, look at how long it takes to do the thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 seconds I am unable to battle. I can't run from zombies or do anything because there's a 4-second animation. There's literally a 4-second animation for me to take a painkiller so that I can continue to fight in battle. You literally wind up having to try and run away. And of course, when you have a concussion, you can't run. It goes, makes the funny noise and you can't run, you're slow. You have to wait for that to happen. So you might be 5, 6, 7 seconds before you can literally take the pill and then get back to fighting the zombies. I'm not sure how the devs think that's fun or a good thing for the game, but again, it's where they're at. And, you know, the plague spitters used to disappear and now they don't. The frost claws, they throw rocks at you and they don't destroy 1 or 2 blocks. They do damage to 15 or 20 blocks when they throw a rock at your base. That's just really stupid, because I can go out here if I'm standing in here and a plague spitter or a frostclaw throws a rock at this block here, it will damage all of this area back here. Will also get splash damage from the boulder. And so I will have to come in and just basically repair my entire base, because they decided to make that the rock would, one, come through the bars and not just hit it and smash on them. They'll literally throw them and they will come through the bars. And then it'll hit me, let's say I'm sitting over in this corner, it'll hit me here, but that wall over there will get damaged. The door might get blown up. It's like, and that's a regular frostclaw. If they're an electrified or a infected or a feral, it's even worse. And that's the kind of stuff they've done in the name of making the game harder to play. And you know, it's great. I had no problem. I used to play the game back in Alpha 20. I used to play on Nomad. It was pretty much my default level, because I could go in and within a day or two have everything I needed. By building on Johnnytown and knowing what I needed to do, I could pretty much find what I needed and play the game. So I used to play on Nomad with 32 or 64 enemies just for fun, because when I wanted to fight and battle zombies, I would turn on zombies. And oh, the other thing too that's hilarious with this, if you look, let's get it. We'll actually exit the game because I think it'll keep recording. But here, so debug active. Here we go. Look, I hate the really slow block damage, so I turn it up. But I have all the zombie speeds, even on Blood Moon, set to what? And yet, the zombies will run and sprint at me. As you saw in the game as I was doing stuff, there were zombies that were jogging, running, and sprinting at me. All of the speeds are set to what? These don't work. Again, this is something else that's broken on the game. Enemies, 8. This enemy count used to control how many enemies would spawn at one time in the game. Now it's only on Blood Moon that it works. I mean, you can see XP multiplier. I turned it up because they made it so hard to get stuff. I used to play with this at 100%. I used to play all this stuff just basically default, and I used to turn it up. This I used to turn up to 16 or 32. Now I don't even think it'll do the 64 anymore. I think when you do that, it won't do it. I've never seen 64 at one time. I didn't do that because if you were on the Blood Moon and you were in the game, what would happen is you would get 16 or so enemies attacking you on your little attack base here, and then they would just go and they'd start leveling all the buildings and land features around you. Because when certain number of zombies got to attacking one specific vector of attack, the overflow would just turn around and start destroying all the buildings around it. So that made it not fun. That was something they were doing like in Alpha 21. I was like, that was stupid. But you know, the game has gone through those kind of changes throughout the life of the game, throughout the 4,800, 4,900 hours I've played this game. It's changed from being a really fun open world game where by the end of the first night you could have a basic base set up where you could work out of, and by the end of night 2 you could have your cobblestone base built. By night 3 you could probably even have a concrete mixer and have concreted the lower portion of it, even if you were building from scratch. And then you could go out and explore the world, do quests, have fun, go to the different biomes, go explore the buildings, go look for resources. That's what the game was. And you had hot and cold. I mean, if you went out and it started raining, you got cold. You better have coffee to drink. Or you had to have a puffer coat. Or you had to have, you know, insulated clothing. They took that out of the game. And from the town hall and the notes they've put out lately, the rumors of what's coming out, a lot of that stuff, they're going to now put it back in the game. They're going to put jars back in the game. They're going to put insulated clothing possibly back in the game. You know, I'm sorry, but this gear, desert gear, you had insulation. You made tank tops and shorts, and you put cooling mesh in your clothing. You didn't need this. The smoke gear, same thing. There was a mask that you could make. There was in the snow gear, you had a puffer coat. You had warming insulation. You could take you know, half dozen coffees with you and stay warm. There was, you know, there were other ways to do it besides. See, this is, it's when they decided to do all this crap. So this ruined the game too, because see, when they decided to do this, gather this. Okay, so 20 cloth fragments requires 20 cotton. So this is really gather 70 cotton, turn 20 of them into cloth to do this. But the devs aren't too bright. And this is where, you know, they do this because they want you to have to grind to do the game. But look at the requirements. 1 armor crafting kit, 20 polymers, 20 cloth fragments, 50 coal. So this one's, it's leather and coal are the difference. This one, it's the armor crafting kit, the same polymers, the same cloth fragments, the same leather as the other one, 2 lenses. Okay. This one, it's cotton. It's like, okay, what's the difference? 2 lenses, 50 cotton. This one, the difference is 10 steel instead of 50 cotton. So basically, you can gather just in normal resources and digging, you can gather all of these. The reason they're all done is because I make 1 armor crafting kit and I go in and I redeem each one with, I just put all the stuff in my inventory. I literally just go in here and I grab 50 cotton. I grab the leather. I grab the polymers. You have, see, there's the lenses that I made. There's the steel. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, there's my crafting kit. So here's my crafting kit. Okay. Now, This is how stupid the devs are when it comes to this stuff. I need 20 cloth fragments. Okay, so I go in here and I grab 20 cloth. Okay, see, gather items for radiation gear is complete. So I can redeem it. But the thing is, I have everything for this. I have everything for this one, everything. I can literally gather all the stuff and just go in here and click it all. Even though I haven't done any of this at all, I can do this. Now, I can't make the gear and unlock it till I do the rest of this, which is kind of stupid. But again, gather 1,000 oil shale. But you can only gather it in the desert, even though I can gather oil shale right there. Gathering the oil shale there doesn't matter. It has to be done in the desert. They do some stuff like that just it's like you're doing it because you want us to do busy work. You're not doing it because you want us to accomplish something in the game. You know, it's like this: harvest nitrate powder, 1,000, but it has to be in the burnt forest. Okay, I've already gathered, you know, enough nitrate that I made hundreds and thousands of rounds of ammo. See, for all this ammo, that's more than 1,000 nitrate. Okay, but it didn't count because it wasn't gathered in the burnt forest. And they'll do stuff like gather this with a stone axe. Why only a stone axe? You know, literally, it's like, let's see if we can get harvesting. Yeah, here. We'll go, see, like this one, harvest forged steel using a salvage tool. Now notice, I have 10 forged steel. But I gathered it with, I got it from a trader. I got it from somewhere else. Why should it matter where I got it from? I found it in loot. They literally go, oh, you have to do this way or else. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. See, it's like gather resources using your hands. You can only gather these with your hands. If you gather them with an axe, it doesn't count. Like here, this one, harvest wood, stone with an axe. So first you have to gather stuff with your hands, then you have to do it with an axe. What if while I'm gathering stuff with the hand, I run across a loot bag or a box or trash pile and it has the fireman's axe or something like that in it, which I've had happen? You can't use it. It has to be a stone one. I mean, it's just literally stupid. Just requirements like that. You do some of this stuff. If you do it out of order, as you're doing the quest, it may not count it, and then it'll make you do it again. So like, for example, if you go and you gather with your hands the fibers and stuff, and all, you make a primitive bow because you took a nest and you beat it with your hands until it broke and you got feathers, or you found feathers in a trash pile or something, and you make a primitive bow and arrow. When you get to that point, you'll have to do it again because it won't count the fact that you did it already. There's just weird shit like that they do, and it's just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. And the order they want you to do this stuff, like they want you to place a land claim, they'll have you running across the field to do, and it'll be make a land claim block. And it's like, I really don't want to do my base here. You know, just the order they do stuff in. You know, it's like in the tutorial, they have you make a club, but they never have you make a spear. Anybody who's played the game for any length of time knows the first weapon you want to build is a bow with some stone arrows and a spear, because the spear has the longest reach and is the best melee weapon for day 1 or 2 of the game. And once you get into other stuff and you have a sledgehammer, what you go do what you want. But I don't use clubs. I don't use sledgehammers, because the zombies get you too easily when you're doing it. And it's just, you got to get up and close, and they're slow. They're great for one zombie at a time, but if you've got 2 or 3 zombies, I can play with the spear and alternate stabbing zombies with the spear, slow them down, back off and charge them with it, kill them. With a sledgehammer or a club, ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna get tagged. I'm gonna get infected. I'm gonna get hurt. So the spear is the best one. The other thing they did was, used to be you could carry 3 or 4 spears and you could stab them with it, and then when you wanted to kill them, you could throw the spear at them and kill them. Power attack with a spear was throwing the spear. And there's even a perk that's in the game, that's still in the game, one of the books in the game, that is right here. No, here we go. Spear Hunter. Penetrate multiple targets. Well, that's great when you could throw the spear. You could line 2 or 3 zombies up coming at you, and you could throw the spear. Now the only way you can do that is if zombies are literally stacking up right in front of you, which means they're attacking you, and you do it. So this book is now pretty much useless. You know, they changed some of the other stuff, but you know, at this point, I'm done with this game until they fix it. And you know, I only paid $7.99 for this game in early release on sale. If I bought this game this week, paid $7.99 for it, I would be demanding my money back, because it's that bad. There's no way I'm paying $45 for this game. And as bad as it is, I'm just not doing it. I guess I'm done ranting. This may be the last 7 Days to Die one I do for a while. They're going to supposedly release some new stuff in December. I may play with it and figure out what it is they're doing. If it's worth anything, I might post something. But at this point, every time they fix something, they break 2 or 3 other things in the process. They took glass jars away. They gave us dew collectors that cost a fortune and didn't produce much water. They took away the expensive cost of the dew collectors, made them make even less water. You had to make a whole farm of dew collectors, so then they made it so that the screamers would come in on, because of all the dew collectors, would generate heat, which is stupid because water collectors shouldn't generate heat, and would attract more zombies to attack your base. So you had to then put your dew collectors on a separate building, separate from your base. So if you needed, you had to leave your base, the safety of your base, and go over to the other place to get your water. It's like, the devs just need to get their head out of their ass and make the game fun again. If they want to do some of the upgrades, storms used to last for a few minutes. Now they can last literally for 30 minutes. You know, the other day I spawned in on day 1. By 8 o'clock in the morning, I had a heavy fog where I couldn't see more than 3 to 5 meters while I'm trying to do the first initial gathering of the game. And it lasted until 8 o'clock at night. So from 8 in the morning, 8 o'clock at night, half a day, I had horrible vision, couldn't see shit, couldn't see zombies, couldn't see supplies, didn't know where I was on the map. as a brand new player, I would just, that's such a turn off. I would just quit the game and I would never go back. Since I've played so much, I was able to wander around until I found some landmark and figure out where I was, and then figure out where I was in the fog and go. But that's not the way to attract new players to the game, is to make it impossible to play. And so the devs just, and you know, their town hall 3 months ago, they basically blamed the community for not liking what they did. It's like, maybe you should listen to the community and do things they like. And even this new update, they claim this next update is going to be called the Goodwill Update, because they're hoping to get some goodwill out of it. It's like every update is a goodwill update. It's giving us stuff to make the game more fun and interesting. And when you make it more of a grind, more tedious, more difficult, more annoying, instead of more fun and more challenging. I like updates that are fun and challenging. Something new, you figure it out. There's a way to figure it out and get around it. In the past, you had skill points. You put skill points into Master Chef, you got the recipes for bacon and eggs. You got the stuff like, you put points into advanced engineering, you got the schematics to build the forge. You got the schematic to build the workbench. You proactively chose what you wanted to do next, and you were able to actually do it. You had control. Now it's like they spawn you in somewhere. You go to the trader and you hope they have magazines. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. You hope they have some supplies you can buy. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. It's all random. Even to the point now, the guns, you can get a #1 pipe machine gun that's stronger than a #3 pipe machine gun. You can literally upgrade your pipe machine gun, spin the glue and the wood and the pipes to build a #3, and you can have a #3 machine gun that has less range damage than the #1 that you originally had. Because, again, they make everything variable and random. Variable and random with no player control. It takes away all the strategy and all the planning. Before you could basically, if you were playing with 2 or 3 people, one could decide they're going to be the farmer and the cook, and you could give them all the farmer and cook magazines so they could build the food plots and do stuff quickly. Someone else could decide they were going to do mining. Someone else could do it. You could actually split that out among your co-op. And then as you got later in the game, you could gather the other skills you needed to be more rounded. Now you can't do that because everything's just at random. And my experience has been, if you play with other players, they don't spawn twice as many magazines on the map if there's 2 players than if there's 1. So it makes it even more scarce and more difficult. So it's just kind of stupid. And I don't think the devs have figured it out. They're more concerned about their fancy animations for taking medicines or doing serums. It's like, oh, look at these great animations. No, I want that animation to be like almost instantaneous. Show me, when I take pills, just show me pop pills in my mouth and be done. I don't want it to take 4 seconds. If I'm getting a serum, I want to just pop that serum in my mouth and go gulp and it be done. I don't want it to be, oh, pull out this bottle, take a syringe, stick a syringe in my arm, squeeze the syringe, put the syringe up. No, that's great if you're into cinematic crap, but it hurts the gameplay. You know, just let me take it and get on my way. Especially if it's something I'm taking in the middle of a battle fighting zombies and I need to renew my health, I don't need to have a 3 or 4 second animation of me wrapping a bandage around my arm while I'm trying to fight off 6 zombies and keep from dying, because I'll probably die while the animation's playing. That's the problem we're into. And just their thing of the current outfits not being customizable. You can't mix and match pieces. You can't mix and match tops and pants. You can't change colors. You can't do any of that. That was part of the fun of the game. You know, if you were playing with people, and two of you had very similar looking characters, one of you could put blue dye on your clothes and the other one could put red dye on their clothes. And that way you're without having name tags floating above your head, you could literally look at the person and go, oh, that's so-and-so. And you know who was who. You can't do that anymore. You literally have to customize your characters so they're different, so that you look different than everybody else, which it's great that you can do that. But give me the option to modify my clothes. Give me the options to do things that used to be in the game that were fun. And don't make it so that I have to run 1.8 kilometers across the map to pick up an airdrop on day 2. I should be building base and gathering resources. Give me back the big cities on the 8K maps where I could go and explore the city for days and gather all kinds of resources, instead of having to run to 2, 3, 4 different little towns and 3, 4, 5 different traders. That's not fun. Getting across the map on vehicles that can't do sprint mode to go faster, where you have trouble even getting the vehicles. The vehicles are slow. Literally right now, if you have the right shoes that have, let's say you have a level 3 shoe that has a 6% faster run speed, and you can literally sprint and go faster than the bicycle. You can literally run across the map faster than you can go on the bicycle. And there are literally buffs that give you extra run speed in books and magazines. You can literally wind up being faster than a vehicle, which is just stupid. They need to get back to stuff that makes sense and makes the game fun. And with that, I'm going to sign off, and I don't know when I'll be on again, because this is the game I've been playing for a long time and I haven't figured out what I want to do next. So hopefully the devs will catch on to this. I've been seeing some of these kind of recordings for the last 3 months, and they've yet to fix a thing. In fact, they broke the vehicle sprint. The vehicle sprint was working up until October. Literally in the last month and a half, they broke that because, if you get on or off a vehicle, sprint mode was staying on, so they turned it off. Obviously, they didn't want you to be able to do it. Don't know why they turned it off, but it's the note in the patch. It's a little update in October. They literally turned off the ability to sprint on vehicles. I don't know why. There's, again, certain roads and slopes, you literally can't get up them without sprint mode. And so they've broken that. You now have to drive around that area. You have to figure out a way around it, which is more time and more tedious and more annoying than being able to just go over a hill or a mountain. Again, that's what the devs keep doing. Every time they fix a problem like, the sprint mode wasn't turning off, they literally break the sprint mode and make it where it's completely unusable 100% of the time, except for when you're on foot. Don't understand, but they probably should take the game out of release and put it back in early access and redo the game. Put it back to where it was in like 19 Alpha 20. Put some of the better character models and graphics and clothes and stuff, but do it with the clothing slots where you can choose the shorts, the pants, the tops separately. Choose what you want to put on. Choose the color it is. Customize it. If they did some of that with some of the updates they have in this thing, it would be great. But no, because they want to sell you the outfits that are customizable or customized. They want you to pay for them. Some of those things that they put, like they keep talking about the bandits and stuff. I won't be shocked at all if the bandits come out as a paid DLC, just like the clothing outfits are paid DLC. Things that were originally supposed to be part of the free early access game, as we get into the regular game, we're going to add these features, blah, 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 blah. If you've already bought the game, they'll be included. And now it's like, now pay us extra money. That's what they're into. I'm just done with it. The game's just about 25% as much fun as it used to be, literally, because it's just turned into this massive scavenger hunt and grind, looking for shit that just randomly spawns. There's no rhyme or reason to it. You know, again, you don't find kitchen stuff in a kitchen. You don't find cookbooks in a diner. You don't find food and pots and pans in diners or kitchens. You're probably going to find it in a sports bag or an automotive garage somewhere. They're intentionally making it where it doesn't go where it belongs. Again, do you find chickens on the farm? No. You find them in the basement of a bar. Do you find pigs out in the pig pen on the farm? No. You find them in the basement of Bob Bour's. Why are they inside the building in the basement of the house? Doesn't make sense. They used to be out in the fields. You better be careful jumping over into a fenced field because there was probably going to be a pig in it. You knew that. You could go hunt a pig. You know, the fact that they took away the chickens and rabbits don't spawn for the first 3 days of the game unless you're way far away from your base at night where you have to deal with feral zombies when you have no food or no stamina or no water. That kind of thinking, I don't know how that enhances and makes the game better. And that's why I'm done. This has been way too long. And again, I'm going to get out of here. Maybe if they fix the game, I'll start back up. But other than that, I would not recommend anybody buying this game. And if you do, go play Alpha 20.7 and you'll figure out how much fun the game could have been had they put the updates into it. Playing the old betas is way more fun than this. And even Alpha 20.7, it was the early Alpha 20 that was the best, in my opinion. I'm not real big on the old 16, 17, 18, 19. In the Alpha 20, they started adding features I liked, but by the end of Alpha 20, they started taking stuff away. And since then, they've done nothing but destroy the game. It's literally been over 2 years that they've been taking away features in the game that made it fun and making it a grind. And even in one of the updates, they said one of the devs said he wanted to turn it more into a grinding scavenger hunt was one of the goals of the update. And I'm like, it's supposed to be an open world sandbox survival game, not a Minecraft grind. And so, yeah, it's just, I'm done. And so we'll catch y'all some other time, maybe.